Alright, what's up guys? I'm back with another video. First and foremost, I just wanted to apologize. The previous video that I made on the whole boycotting thing going down, I did kind of rush it a little bit. I promised people that I would get a video out regarding it by the weekend, and I didn't really have much time, but I wanted to get something out anyways, so I kind of had to rush it. And in doing so, I don't feel like I got my opinions across properly, and I feel like everything was kind of jumbled together and all mixed up. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to break it down point by point. I'm not even going to put any actual footage in this video. It's literally just going to be me talking about the issues at hand, and I'm going to break it down point for point so that everything is more organized and properly organized. So like I said guys, I do want to apologize. It was a mistake that I made. I am able to admit that. And I just want to mention first and foremost that a lot of this video and a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about is going to be opinion based. Now everyone has the right to have their own opinion, just like I have the right to have my own opinion, and I will respect your guys' opinions if you see things differently than I do, but I just want to emphasize on the fact that a lot of this is going to be based on my own personal opinion. So without further ado, let's get on to the first topic that I want to speak about. Okay, so is what Netmarble did alright? Me personally, I believe it isn't alright. Now, I say this because I believe it was executed horribly. I believe they did it at a bad time. I believe they didn't put the right characters in the chest. And I do kind of have a way that I could have seen it actually working. So on this point here, that is what I'm going to be discussing. So my point being that it was executed horribly, I believe the fact that they gave us no notice of this, they just released it in the patch notes right before the update dropped. It came to everybody as a surprise. It came to the entire community as a surprise, so we were all shocked and we did not expect this, especially with the game's history. You know, we've never had something like this before, and it's not something that we expected, and it's not something that we were really ready for. Now, after the entire EA thing happened with the loot boxes, I believe this was a very bad time, and this is a very crucial point, that Netmarble released this chest. Now, it's pretty much just taking EA's side and pushing back against the community. So I do believe it was at a very bad time for them to do this, and I do believe if they were going to do this, they should have done it not only much better, but they should have done it at a different time, at a later time. Now, not only do they release this chest to everybody by surprise, but the characters in the chest aren't that amazing. You know, if they're gonna release a chest like this, I'd expect native tier 2 characters, or at least something worthwhile that we can get from the chest, especially since it's RNG based. But that brings me to my next point, a possible way that they could have executed this much better. Now, am I saying that the ultimates are bad characters in game? No, definitely not. They're very strong characters. They're very good characters to have in addition to your roster. However, I think the way that this could have been executed properly would have been if Netmarble would have released it, say, with 4 or 5 native tier 2 characters. This way, when we buy the chest and we get one of the characters, we don't need to buy the chest multiple more times in order to get biometrics for them to rank up their gears. We'd be able to do that with black antimatter or the Mcron materials. However, keep in mind that this chest currently includes every single character in the game to my knowledge. So that's another point that I want to make here. If they were to do it with the possible solution that I'm using as an example, where there were to be 4 or 5 native tier 2 characters in the chest, I believe that there shouldn't be every other character in the game. I believe that isn't fair. I believe if you're going to buy something, it shouldn't be, especially if it's RNG based, there shouldn't be 150 other options out there. It should be down to a very small, narrow selection of characters. And in doing so, if you were to buy it once and get a character, I believe that if you buy it again, you shouldn't be able to get the same character. It's not like it's a cheap package. It does cost 1,750 crystals. Now keep in mind that if it were to be native tier 2 characters and not so much a low percentage to get these characters, say 4 or 5 characters in the chest, I do believe they should have bumped up the price a little bit, because it is possible for free-to-play characters to actually farm crystals. It is very slow, however they can. So just like the Magneto package, you know, I do believe that the characters should have been more worthwhile, and you shouldn't have to buy it so many times in order to unlock the characters that you want and to rank them up. So in them being native tier 2, you would not have to do this. Keep in mind, guys, that I'm just using this and making an example out of it if Netmarble had really no other option except to release a chest like this. Of course, I do not side with them on this matter, how they executed it, how they released it, and etc. However, you know, if they had no choice but to do this, I think that would be the only way possible for them to do it without getting any backlash, and the only way possible that would really make sense to a lot more people than the Ultimates chest did. Of course, that is a very far-fetched theory. However, you know, like I said, I'm just throwing a theory out there. I'm throwing an example out there of a way that I find it could have been executed better. Netmarbles Recovery. Now, in this point, I'm going to be talking about how Netmarble reacted to the boycott, how Netmarble reacted to everybody's reactions to update 3.6. So the backlash against Netmarble all began as soon as the patch notes dropped. Now, people noticed that the characters were only available in this chest in the shop. However, keep in mind, at that point in time, we didn't know if it was for crystals, we didn't know if it was going to be in the token shop or somewhere else. However, in the end, the community was right, and it was actually 4 crystals in the shop that we had to pay for. In seeing this, everybody, you know, kind of freaked out, so Netmarble decided to give everybody 1,750 crystals, which is the cost of one chest, as soon as the update dropped. They were basically bribing the players into being able to buy one of the chests. Now, we of course were guaranteed one character the first time buying it at 6 stars. However, we were still not able to get any biometrics for them to rank up their gears, to bring them to tier 2 or etc. And then from there on forward, everything was RNG based until every 3rd roll, until we were able to get another 6-star character. As the discussion went on, Netmarble decided to come out and speak, and they decided to refund everybody half of the crystals that actually purchased the package because they believed that the package was misleading, so they quote-unquote fixed the wording of the package. Now, did this really change anything? No, it didn't. They changed around a sentence on the package. They didn't really make any changes to it, and everything was still the same. It was still your first purchase, you get a guaranteed 6-star Ultimates character, and from there on, every 3rd purchase you would get another 6-star Ultimates character. Furthermore, they decided to add these characters into the lab processor. Now, in doing so, we were able to actually farm their biometrics. Now, I do just want to mention that it is very, very slow. I do believe that I saw someone do the math, and they claimed that it would take, you know, approximately 200 days to get one character fully geared into tier 2, which is completely insane. That's a long time. That's 3/4 of a year. So, you know, I do think that them adding it into the lab processor was a bad move on their part. I think it would have been better if they added it to one of the token shops for timeline or villain stage tokens. That way we can at least get, you know, 9 biometrics a day. That would have made much, much more sense in my opinion. So now, it's been a few days since Netmarble came out and said anything. However, the whole community is still in uprise. A few people have pulled off from the boycott. However, the majority of the people that were on it to begin with are still there and still going strong. So it is a little odd that Netmarble decided not to say anything. And in doing so, I don't believe that Netmarble is going to make any more changes. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I think Netmarble is going to learn from this, and I think the next update in December around Christmas time is going to be a more player-friendly update. And I think since they will learn from this mistake, they will not do the kind of like the same thing again with a chest like this where we have to pay for it for crystals and it's so RNG based. I do believe that they learned from their mistake. However, I don't believe that we're going to get any more changes regarding this update. So the boycott, was it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing now? No, I don't believe that at any point in time was the boycott a bad thing. I do believe certain aspects and certain people in the community took it a bit too far. However, I do believe that everyone has the right to voice their own opinion. I do believe that when something like this happens, the community has a right to speak up and to come together as a group and speak against what they don't feel right about. I've seen everything from petitions on change.org going down to people voicing their opinion on the various forums, and I do believe this is completely fine. I do believe that Netmarble really lacks in communication with their player bases, and so this is pretty much the only way that we are able to get our voices heard and to get our voices out there for Netmarble to actually see it and to actually speak back to us. This has always been one of Netmarble's flaws. They have horrible communication. They never come out and speak to us, let us know what's going on. They never have a person in charge come out and make statements when things like this go down. This is not the first time that we see controversy over an update. We've had controversy in the past. Of course, it was to a much lesser extent. However, we never had anyone to communicate with, no one to read our opinions, no one to voice our opinions to Netmarble. It's pretty much just, if we didn't boycott, then our opinions and our voices wouldn't get heard. And it's something that, pretty much every game company, in my opinion, needs, or every company in general needs, because they have to communicate with the customers. The customers have to be satisfied. We are paying them so that their game can keep running, so they need to have somebody that's able to communicate with us, not these stupid community managers that just come on and release patch notes and what Netmarble tells them to say. They don't even interact with the community or anything like that. They need somebody in charge to actually communicate with us, someone to release statements. It doesn't matter where they do it, if they have a new forum that they open up, if they do it on the Mobarum forum, even if they have someone in charge or that they put in charge and they run a Twitter account and they can answer us back, they can release statements, because even their customer support team is tremendously bad. The majority of the time it feels like you're getting an automated response, and it wouldn't even come to a shock to me if it was actually always automated responses. The overreacting and childish behavior. Now this is where things get a little muddy. I did mention earlier that I do support the boycott to an extent. I do believe that we have the right to voice our opinions. However, there are certain members of the community that have taken it too far and to another level that shouldn't have been taken. There are many people that have been sending Netmarble death threats. I've seen multiple screenshots. There are many people that have been sending hatred and emails out of furious and frustration to Netmarble. Now, this is not the way you get through to Netmarble. This is not a way to get them to react to you. This will just be something that's brushed aside, and this is something that nobody deserves. It's probably just some random customer service guy that is going to read all of this, and he does not deserve that. It is not on him. He's not the one pulling the strings and making the decisions. So the fact that people are sending all these death threats and acting so ridiculous shouldn't be a part of the boycott. That's, in my opinion, not what the boycott is about. It's about actually resolving the issue, and it's not about overreacting and acting childish and slandering Netmarble. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be upset, especially to the people that have spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on this game. That doesn't mean that you don't have the right to be upset and that you don't have the right to be angry if something like this happens. However, you gotta keep your cool, and you gotta go about this issue properly. You can't be doing stupid stuff like this, because that is not how you will get an issue resolved. And that goes for anything in life. You don't get an issue resolved by sending people death threats, unless you're the Punisher and you just want to go around and serve justice to everybody. But I just think people took it too far, and I don't think that the entire community that's boycotting should be recognized that way, and I don't believe that, goes to show what the entire boycott is about. However, there are people that took it too far, and that is the part of the boycott that I do not see okay. Now, another thing that I've seen come up from the boycott, and I've seen this especially on forums like Facebook, which I guess you can't really consider a forum, but pretty much on social medias, I've seen people talk about the boycott, and then you'll have these people commenting, oh, we got them to make these paywall characters in the processor, so, maybe we could push them even further and get all the paywall characters in the bio subscription to be, free to play and farmable. This is something that should not be acceptable. We need to have paywall characters. The difference between the package of the Ultimates and the bio subscriptions is the bio subscriptions, we know what we're getting, we know what we're paying for, we have the option to choose which character we want, whereas the Ultimates package, it is at random and we do not know what we're getting. We're getting a random character out of 150 characters, and it's most likely going to be a character that we already have. So I just wanted to mention this because this is something that I do not find okay as well. The boycott is there for a reason. It's there to get something resolved and to make sure that it doesn't happen again in the future. It's not to turn around things from the past. It's not to bring down the game in general. It's just to resolve what has gone down. It's to fix it. It's to make sure Netmarble never does it again. But like I said, it's not to, bring down the game and open it up for everybody where spending will get you nowhere, because that is not how games work. Gambling for kids. Now, there's a lot of people that have been stating that this new Ultimates chest is teaching kids about gambling, and it is getting them addicted to gambling. Now, I just bring this topic up because I feel so strongly against it. I do believe that if a kid is able to buy this chest once or multiple times, then that should be on the parents. Kids should not have access to, especially younger kids, a parent's credit card. They should not have access to a credit card at all. They should not have access to enough money to go buy a Google Play or an iTunes card to be able to purchase this chest. And if they do, then that should be on the parents. And if it's the parents giving the kids their phone to play Marvel Future Fight or any other game for that matter, they should be putting passwords on their Google Play account. They should be putting passwords on their iTunes account, because they are kids and they should be teaching their kids the proper way to go about stuff, and they shouldn't be handing their kids money to buy these chests. And if they are, then that's on the parents. But I don't think we can blame Netmarble here for trying to get kids addicted to gambling. I'm not going to speak anymore about this topic. I just believe that Netmarble shouldn't be to blame for this, but everyone has the right to their own opinion, and you guys may feel against my opinion and I may feel against your opinion. However, I don't think we could blame Netmarble here, and that is my opinion. Netmarble is a business. Now, we all know that Netmarble is a business. We all know that they have many games. They're making a lot of money, and Marvel Future Fight is one of those revenue sources for them. They've introduced things in the past as a way for them to make money and as a way for them to make revenue. Now, it all started with the biometric subscription. This didn't exist at the start of the game, and then they released paywall characters behind this biometric subscription, and we all know that it is purchased by so many people every single month. It is a great deal. However, that didn't exist when the game first came out. They tried it, it worked, so they ran with it. Then they went on to custom gear chests and card chests, and even when tier 2 characters were released, they released tier 2 tickets in the shop, and these are things that are purchased so many times every single month that have worked for them. Now, I do believe that with this Ultimate's gear chest, they were trying to test something. They wanted to see if it would work or not. However, they executed it so flawed that it just backlashed on them. And I do believe, like I mentioned earlier, that they will learn from this, but they will 100% for sure release new methods for them to make money in the future, whether it be resources or another way to get characters. They are going to release ways like this in the future. We can all guarantee that. As a business, you need to keep growing. That's what you want to do. You want to get bigger. You want to get even bigger. Once you get bigger, and then once you get there, you want to get even bigger. You always want to see your money going up. Once you have that money, you want more of it. There are so many other mobile games out there that work exactly on this, and they make a ton of money off of it. Look at Contest of Champions, for example, and I'm just using this because it's another Marvel game that so many people know and talk about. They use exactly this. The Ultimate's chest is pretty much everything in their shop. That's what they work off of. But the difference is, they've worked off that since day one. Netmarble, on the other hand, they're implementing this brand new 2.5 years after the game's been out. They're introducing it very flawed, at a very bad time, and so the community reacted to it, which is good. The community deserves to voice their opinion to this. To conclude this video, guys, I just want to apologize for the previous video one more time. Hopefully I made it a bit clearer in this video here. Hopefully you guys understood my point of view a little bit better and everything wasn't so jumbled up and mixed up. Hopefully I was able to take the time and briefly explain to you guys exactly how I felt about the entire boycott and what Netmarble has done with update 3.6. Am I going to boycott Netmarble and Marvel Future Fight? No, I am not. This is a game that I've played for over 2.5 years. I've also spent a very large sum of money on this game, and it's a game that I really enjoy. I enjoy playing as my favorite characters. I enjoy playing as new characters. And yeah, of course I'm bummed out by the previous update. I would love to play as some of my favorite characters, and the fact that they made it this way kind of sucks. I'm hoping that they do better for previous updates or for following updates, my mistake. However, I'm going to keep playing the game. I will keep shelling out at the game, and I will keep enjoying the game until I get tired of it. If Netmarble continues to go down a bad road, then of course eventually I will stop playing the game. However, for the time being, I still really do enjoy the game. I still sink hours and hours into the game, and I do really enjoy it. Like I said, I enjoy playing as my favorite characters, and I enjoy playing as new characters, so hopefully they're easier to get in the coming updates. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to voice myself a little bit better, and I hope you guys stick around for the next video, I guess. I know some of you guys left because you didn't like my opinions. Well, cool, thanks. but I'll see those of you that stick around in the next video. Adios.
I've been fucking motion, popping pills, man, I feel just like a rock star.